Hello, dear Scouts, and greetings from Kuala Lumpur. Welcome to the World Scouting's last live show for this year. My name is Dzanin, and I am an intern here at the World Scout Bureau for Scouts for SDGs. Here with us today, we have four incredible guests with us, our youth representatives. I'll be introducing them in a second, but before I do that, I just want to point out what we will be talking about today. So we'll be talking about different amazing projects and events that our youth representatives have taken part in. They've taken part in these events as advocates in their respective fields, and we'll hear their thoughts and inputs and the lessons learned, the experiences gained, and scouting's role in the SDGs, non-formal education, and the environment very, very soon. All right, I'll just give them a quick spotlight now to introduce themselves, to tell us their name and what they're focusing on as advocates. All right, let's start off with Gracia.
Hi everyone, good morning, nice to see you. My name is Gracia, I'm from Mexico and I'm focused on the environmental advocacy area with the youth reps.
Thank you. Kazi?
Hello everyone, I am Kazi from Bangladesh. I also work with Gracia with the environmental advocacy team in OZOM, and we advocate for the environment, climate change, and all other related things. Thank you.
Great. Paul?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Paul. I'm from Germany, and I'm part of the peace team and within the WASM Youth Representatives. That means we advocate for young people's role and scouting's role in peace.
Great. And last but not least, Thaís.
Thank you. I'm Thaís. I'm originally from Brazil, and I advocate for education, the core of our movement.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for sharing that with us. Now, before we actually dive into the official agenda of the meeting, we're going to have a little bit of an icebreaker. Now, I'm going to be asking you guys flash questions, and it's going to be like a this or that kind of format. So for the first choice, you're going to point up with your finger. And for the second choice, you're going to point down. All right? All right, so it's 6 flash questions. And the first one is Christmas in the hot or cold weather? All right. Okay, a day at the beach or a hike in the mountains? All right, we have mountain fans and beach fans. Alrighty, next one is a fancy hotel or a night under the stars? Of course, this is a test of whether they're really scouts. So we have confirmed that they are actually scouts. All right, time travel or magic?
I didn't get it.
Time travel or magic?
Ooh.
Great. Okay, next one is also very important. Be very careful with your answers. So, World Scout Jamboree or the concert of your favorite singer? Good, they've passed for the second time. Great. Alrighty, the last one, spicy food or not spicy food? All right. Thank you guys for engaging in these answers. Now we're going to go down to business and to our official agenda. I'm gonna ask each of you a few questions, a few general questions about yourselves and what inspired you to be youth advocates. And then we will also talk about the fields that you focus on in scouting. All right? So I'm going to kickstart with Thaís. All right, Thaís, the first question that I have here for you is who or what inspired the advocate within you?
Oh, that's a great question. There's a lot of people who were in scouting that inspired me, but I think what inspired me is the experience that I had in scouting. It was so much fun to be a young person in a jamboree, in a camp, and I want more people to have this opportunity. So then I started advocating for it because I want more young people to have access to non-formal education, to the kind of education that we have in scouting that prepares us for life and that made me who I am today. So I want more people to have the same chance.
All right, thank you so much for that really inspiring answer. Now, I have another follow-up question for you, and that is share with us some highlights from the UN General. I know you attended the UN General quite recently, I believe in September, and also your thoughts on how we champion non-formal education in the Scout movement and how has it evolved over the years?
Sure, that's amazing. Surely a highlight of the UN is when we were able to speak at the General Assembly at the closing of the Transforming Education Summit. We were able to bring the message of scouting there, and when they were asking us how we are going to start the movement for transforming education, I was able to say we are already a movement, and that was great. And I think that's what we've been doing in the past years with transforming education. We are letting people know that there is already a method that exists for more than 100 years and it works. So we are letting formal agencies know that we have a method that works and they can invest in non-formal education and recognize it and bring it to more young people around the world.
Exactly, incredible. I couldn't agree with you more. We have evolved and we have an organization that has evolved for over 100 years, and that is definitely something that we can go out and say proudly to anyone. All right, thank you, Thaís, for your input. Now I'm going to go to Kazi. All right, share with us your favorite quote that sparks change or inspiration and your interpretation of it.
Thank you, Dzanin, for the for the floor. So there is one quote from the Cree Indian. This is a proverb that says, "Only when the last tree has died and the last river been poisoned and the last fish been caught, will we realize we cannot eat money." So this was a very striking quote from for me when I was in the first year of the college. So I saw it and I was like thinking, this quote itself describes all the environmental issues we are facing these days. So it was very striking, and yeah, this actually inspired me. There are many other things, and one of them are this thing that inspired me to actually focus on environmental advocacy and do something, contribute something from my side for the betterment of our environment of the earth.
Great, thank you, Kazi, for sharing that quote. And it's quite striking. I have to say that I definitely got goosebumps when you read it. Now, a follow-up question for you is, what is COP and why is the presence of Scouts and young people at that event, so important?
Thank you again for the question. So COP is actually we can compare it with the jamboree. This is a jamboree with all the organization who work with the environment thing. So the COP is actually an annual conference for all the countries and also for all the organization who work with the climate change thing. So in COP every year, countries negotiate for different pacts, different agreements to tackle the climate change problem. And we were there in COP26 last year in Glasgow and this year in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, to represent the World Scout movement. Because inside scouting, we are doing a lot of activities regarding environmental conservation. Around the world, scouts are taking action regarding environmental conservation. But we also need to showcase what we are doing inside our movement to our external partners, like other organizations who are working with the same topic. So COP is a good place to share what we are doing and also learn from what others are doing in the same field. So as Thaís was saying that non-formal education is the key pillar of our movement. So non-formal education, there is a subfield of non-formal education which is called non-formal environmental education. So we are doing advocacy regarding non-formal environmental education. We are showcasing what Scouts around the world are doing regarding environmental conservation, and we are also learning from other organizations what they are doing. And we are looking forward to do partnerships with organizations in coming COPs, and we are also making friend with other organizations in the same field. So this is more or less from my side.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Kazi, for sharing that. All right, I'll move now to Gracia. Okay, so Gracia, please share with us your favorite learning from a mistake moment, and preferably from your journey as a youth representative.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. Wow, I would say one of the best learnings I have had is to listen deeply to my team. I think the collective knowledge we can create together, it's always better than what one person can think or what one person can do. So always put attention to it and never devaluate it. I think it's really important that we work as a team and whatever we put forward, it's in a consensus and in a collective way.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Gracia, for sharing that. Now, a follow-up question for you would be, how are Scouts involved in environmental action, and do you know of any incredible environmental projects that were delivered by Scouts?
Yes, so wow. I think scouts are doing a lot on the ground through the Air Tribe program. And this platform is really pushing us to be active on the ground, but also it's a platform for us to advocate on the things that matter most to us in terms of environmental issues that we are facing around the world. And one of my favorite stories is actually from my colleague Cassie. And this story he shared at COP, and it's how a group of scouts were helping in an island in Bangladesh to rebuild the basic services, but also kind of to start helping restoring the ecosystem in the island. So they were working there for months, and after many actions delivered, the island is called the Scout Island actually. So I'm happy for the impact the Scouts have created over there with all their environmental actions trying to restore the ecosystem, waste management, and restarting the local services.
Good, great. Thank you so much. And I'm glad that you actually mentioned the Earth Tribe, which is one of the big World Scouting initiatives that kind of is like a guideline for all the scouts around the world on how they can as well take on environmental issues in their local communities. All right, thank you so much, Gracia. Now I will move on to Paul. Hi, Paul. What is the book that inspired you the most?
Well, I think it's definitely hard to tell that because, you know, reading every now and then, like, is a new experience ever and over and again. So every book I read, somehow I look for inspiration. And I think, so let me mention maybe one children's story and one more sort of towards a question of peace. And the children's story is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I read that a few years ago, and every story that sort of has a main character that grows from a younger age to an older age and has some major learnings sort of resonates, because I find myself, or at least I always look for the person in there. And you know, what inspires me then is to see how everybody, by involving themselves in activities, by reflecting on their action, by having and making friends, sort of grows to become who they eventually are. And that's beautiful to observe. And another book maybe that has inspired me is actually by an Indian philosopher from already more than, like, older than the Scout movement, let's say that. And it's about religion. And when I read the book already, I don't know, also many years ago, he explained how, or he basically talked about the peaceful coexistence of religion. And that for me was really a key moment to realize how we can play a role in rather seeking the similarities and what combines us also across different religions, instead of focusing on the differences and what sets us apart. So, and that for me is essentially as well a role that Scouting can play.
Great, great. I'm surprised that you mentioned the Great Expectations, because that was one of my favorite assigned books to read in high school, because we had to read it. It wasn't a choice, but I really loved it as well. My follow-up question for you is, what is Scouts for SDGs, and how does it empower young people, Scouts around the world, to take action in their communities?
Yeah, well, Scouts for SDGs is probably the greatest thing we can talk about these days. You might have heard about the Sustainable Development Goals by now, and you know, they're about gender equality, it's about quality education, it's about environmental protection, it's about peace, and Scouting definitely contributes to this. Now, we're not just contributing in any way, but we're actually the largest contribution, coordinated youth contribution to the SDGs, with more than 2 million projects worldwide, and a goal to by 2033 have served in 4 billion, think about it, 4 billion hours that contribute to the SDGs. And the good news is we're already at 2.8 billion. So we are well ahead of our goal and ambition. So we can aim even higher. And maybe for you to understand and know more how you actually contribute to the SDGs and a local scout group in your region by scouting activities is to think about and take a look at the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and maybe find out how is what we do, the community service and projects that we do, how do they contribute to the SDGs? So what is natural or what we have been doing for 100 years in scouting is something that contributes to the SDGs. And by continuing this work, we eventually not only grow personally within the scouting movement, but we create change in the world and make this world a better place.
All right, so I am aware that Gracia has to leave us now, so we'll say a quick goodbye. Thank you so much, Gracia, for joining us today.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you for having us. It was very great. See you in the next adventure.
Absolutely. Have a great week. Okay, now to wrap things up very quickly, I'll go back to Thaís and ask Thaís if she has a call to action to share with our Scouts viewers.
Well, I guess my call to action is continue having fun, continue doing your projects, and you will be contributing for the SDGs, and you will be contributing for your own development of fulfilled individuals, and that's part of what we call the non-formal education. So for you to acquire skills that will be useful for you in the future, it's just continue being part of your teams, of your scouts, your patrols, continue having fun.
Thank you, Thaís. That was great. Now I'll go to Kazi and ask him if he has a message to share with our viewers, a call to action.
Thank you, Zain. So as I am working with the environment team, so I have a call to action regarding environment. So after looking at the global picture of the environmental thing, I suggest every young people to get never disheartened and always take individual and collective action, because all these actions will sum up in a very good thing, which will eventually help us to overcome all the environmental crisis. So keep going, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Kazi. And lastly but not least, Paul, please share your call to action for all of the Scouts that are joining us today for this live show.
Thank you. I think it's important for us to acknowledge that we are all not alone in our struggle and in our contributions to the SDGs. So I call on you to be inspired by the actions of other Scouts worldwide. And there is actually a great tool for this. So Scouting has a platform, the Scouts for SDG Impact Hub. And you may just want to have a look there at the brilliant stories that are being told about Scouting actions. And maybe that inspires you to continue with another great project on your side.
Great. Thank you all so much for joining us today and for sharing your inspiring thoughts and inspiring contributions to the Scouts for SDGs, but the overall Scout movement by advocating what you advocate. And yeah, my call to action for you guys is to keep on being so inspirational, keep on being so great at what you do, because truly you are doing an impeccable job. All right, now back to you, dear Scouts. Thank you all for joining in to tonight here in Kuala Lumpur. It's getting quite late, but thank you for joining us wherever you're tuning in from. You all are inspiring, you all can be inspirational, and you all can mobilize. We are an organization of 57 million Scouts, and we are mobilizing each and every single one of you to contribute to the largest contribution to reaching the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, also, I would like to say a big thank you to our partner, Al Wali Philanthropies, for supporting us with this transmission and also for supporting all of the activities in the current year regarding Scouts for SDGs. All right, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Happy holidays, and we'll see you again next year. Goodbye.